What if one single night could quietly determine which version of your future you'll live in, without fanfare, without anyone announcing it, and without most people even noticing it happened? Some nights pass like any other, fading into the calendar without leaving a trace. But then there are nights that act like cosmic crossroads, when unseen forces align in a way that amplifies the consequences of even the smallest choices. These moments don't always come with thunder or prophecy. Sometimes they arrive wrapped in silence, in the middle of ordinary hours, while the world is distracted. And yet, for those who are paying attention, these nights become the invisible hinge on which entire timelines turn. Think about how a single decision, choosing to send a message, saying yes to an unexpected invitation, deciding to stay in silence instead of reacting, can set off a chain reaction that changes everything. History is full of moments where destiny shifted because of choices made in passing, a missed train that led to a chance encounter, a quiet midnight decision that redirected a life's path. On nights like these, the energetic volume of your intentions, emotions, and actions is turned up. What normally would be a whisper becomes a declaration. This isn't superstition, it's about how moments of alignment make your presence more powerful than usual. This night is not just another date on a calendar, it's a spiritual inflection point. While most people are scrolling, sleeping, or numbing out, a small number will sense something stirring beneath the surface. They'll feel the stillness shift, as if reality itself is waiting for their response. This is the kind of night where your awareness becomes your greatest tool. You don't need to do anything dramatic, you just need to notice asterisk. Awareness itself can be the act that moves you from one path to another. And the most fascinating part, you may not realize the importance of this moment until weeks, months, or even years later, when you look back and see the subtle line where everything started to change. If this video found its way to you, it's not by accident. Maybe it showed up on your feed at the exact moment you needed it, or you clicked it out of a quiet curiosity you can't fully explain. Either way, this message is a signal, not a coincidence. In spiritual terms, moments of awakening rarely arrive with loud announcements. They come as whispers, synchronicities, or subtle nudges that ask, "Are you paying attention?" The fact that you're here means that, on some level, you already are. This night we're talking about isn't meant for everyone. Most will scroll past it, fall asleep early, or dismiss the strange energy they feel as nothing. But there's always a small group who are drawn to look deeper. Think of it like being invited into a room where a quiet but powerful conversation is taking place. You didn't stumble into this room, something in you was ready to step inside. Whether you call it divine timing, intuition, or simple resonance, you're part of the group that's meant to notice what's unfolding beneath the surface. In this video, we'll explore exactly what makes this night so pivotal. You'll understand why certain energies converge in rare ways, what signs to watch for in yourself and the world around you, how to prepare mentally and spiritually, and what specific actions can align you with the higher timeline that's opening. By the end, you won't just understand what's happening, you'll be asterisk ready for it. Your awareness is your invitation. This is why you're here. Every so often, the sky arranges itself in a way that feels almost intentional, like a hidden script unfolding above our heads. Astrologers, ancient civilizations, and spiritual traditions across time have always treated certain nights as sacred inflection points. These weren't just poetic beliefs, they were observations of recurring patterns. Celestial alignments often coincide with emotional intensity, collective shifts, and pivotal historical events. When planetary movements, lunar phases, and numerological sequences line up in rare harmony, they create what many traditions call energetic windows, periods when subtle forces feel amplified and decisions carry extra weight. Imagine the universe as a vast ocean. Most days, the surface ripples gently, but sometimes powerful tides converge, currents, winds, and lunar pulls combine to create a moment where a single movement can take you much farther than usual. This night is one of those moments. Lunar events like supermoons, eclipses, solstice points, or portal dates such as 1010 or 1111 act like cosmic amplifiers. They heighten emotional sensitivity, sharpen intuition, and bring subconscious material to the surface. It's why so many people feel restless, emotional, or unusually inspired during these times without even knowing why. Throughout history, Civilizations have marked these nights carefully. The Egyptians aligned temples with star patterns for precise ritual timings. The Mayans built their calendars around astronomical cycles to track portals of transformation. Even in modern times, collective events often cluster around strong celestial alignments, whether revolutions, breakthroughs, or unexpected societal shifts. These are not coincidences. They're reflections of how cosmic rhythms interact with human consciousness. This night is cosmically charged not because it's magical in a fairy tale sense, but because the natural world, the heavens, and human energy are briefly in sync. When such a rare alignment occurs, it creates an invisible magnifying glass. Whatever thoughts, emotions, or intentions you focus on during this time are projected with greater intensity. It's like speaking through a megaphone instead of whispering. Choices made on ordinary nights ripple softly. Choices made during cosmic windows echo loudly through time. That's what makes this night different. It's not about fear or superstition. It's about understanding how to ride the tide when the current is strongest. To understand why one night can shift the course of your life, it helps to look at timelines not as abstract fantasies, but as living branches that grow from every choice you make. Spiritually, many traditions speak of parallel realities, multiple versions of your life that exist as potential outcomes, waiting for your awareness and decisions to bring them into form. Every thought, action, and emotional response becomes a seed that grows into a particular version of the future. On most days, these changes are subtle, like gentle adjustments in direction. But on rare nights of heightened energy, those branches spread dramatically, making your decisions far more consequential than usual. From a psychological perspective, timeline shifts happen through a series of micro-decisions that alter your identity and behavior over time. Imagine two versions of yourself standing at a fork in the road. One follows familiar patterns, reacting the same way, clinging to old fears, repeating old narratives. The other makes a small but conscious change, choosing silence over anger, truth over avoidance, courage over hesitation. That one choice might feel minor in the moment, but it sets a new trajectory. Over months and years, the difference between these paths becomes vast, almost as if two entirely different lives emerged from a single decision point. Spiritual and psychological perspectives intersect at awareness. Awareness is the bridge between potential and reality. When you become fully present in a key moment, especially during a powerful cosmic alignment, you stop living on autopilot and start consciously shaping your trajectory. It's not about creating alternate universes in a sci-fi sense, but about tuning your inner compass so that the path ahead reflects your highest choices rather than unconscious defaults. These nights act like energetic accelerators. They don't invent new timelines out of thin air. They amplify the paths you're already leaning toward. The question is, will you choose that path consciously or let it be chosen for you? In the days or even hours leading up to a major timeline split, reality often starts to hum differently. You might not be able to explain it logically, but you'll feel it. One of the clearest indicators is a sudden heightening of intuition. You may experience strong gut feelings about people or situations, as if your inner radar has turned up its sensitivity. Everyday decisions feel charged with more weight than usual. You catch yourself pausing before speaking, sensing that something beneath the surface is shifting. Internal signs often appear first. Many people report feeling restless at night, waking up at unusual hours, or having a strange mix of excitement and unease in their chest. Vivid dreams, sometimes symbolic or emotionally intense, tend to increase during these windows. You might see repeating numbers, like 11, 11, 2, 22, or 10, 10, popping up on clocks, receipts, or random places, acting like gentle winks from the universe to keep you alert. Emotional waves also become more pronounced. Old memories or unresolved feelings may surface unexpectedly, not to torment you, but to offer a final chance to integrate or release them before stepping into a new phase. Externally, subtle glitches and synchronicities begin to cluster. Conversations may feel strangely significant, technology might act up in unexpected ways, or you might encounter coincidences that seem too precise to ignore. You could meet people out of the blue who deliver exactly the message you needed, or notice delays and detours that feel orchestrated rather than random. Even the atmosphere can feel different, quieter, heavier, or oddly electric, as though reality is holding its breath. These signs aren't meant to scare you, they're cues, like the soft music that plays before a scene changes in a film. When you notice them, it's a reminder to stay awake and present. Many people brush off these moments as oddities, but those who pay attention recognize them for what they are: gentle indicators that a crossroads is approaching. They're not predictions, they're invitations to become conscious of the role you're about to play in shaping what comes next. When the night arrives, the pivotal moment often doesn't look grand or obvious. It doesn't come with a voice from the sky or a cosmic spotlight. It slips in quietly, disguised as an ordinary choice. It could be something as subtle as deciding whether to answer a message, picking up your phone out of habit, confronting a truth you've been avoiding, or choosing stillness instead of reacting. These are the midnight moments where timelines quietly diverge, and while they may seem insignificant at the time, their ripple effect can be profound. Often these tests present themselves through emotion. Maybe someone from your past unexpectedly reaches out, stirring feelings you thought were settled. Maybe an opportunity appears, wrapped in uncertainty, forcing you to choose between fear and faith. Or perhaps a wave of inner restlessness urges you to break your usual patterns, to step outside, meditate, write, pray, or simply listen. These moments are like soft knocks on a door. You can ignore them and continue on autopilot, or you can pause and open the door with awareness, letting a new path unfold. To illustrate, imagine two people experiencing the same energetic night. One gets a sudden feeling to turn off distractions and sit in silence. She follows that nudge, reflects on a long-standing inner conflict, and makes a quiet but powerful decision to forgive and let go. Over the following weeks, unexpected opportunities and emotional clarity unfold. The other person feels that same nudge but scrolls aimlessly instead, numbing the moment away. Life doesn't collapse, but everything remains the same, stagnant, unshifted. Both paths started with the same impulse. One responded, the other didn't. Test isn't about passing or failing in a moral sense. It's about presence asterisk. It's about whether you choose to engage consciously when the moment arrives or let the current of old patterns carry you forward. These midnight crossroads are fleeting. If you're awake enough to recognize them, you gain the power to step into a new timeline deliberately, rather than stumbling into one unconsciously. This is why awareness on these nights is everything. It turns quiet decisions into destiny-shaping moments. While personal choices shape individual timelines, there are nights when something larger is at play, when the collective energy of humanity itself seems to reach a crossroads. These moments can feel like an invisible wave moving through society. Emotional climates intensify, global events cluster in unexpected ways, and conversations everywhere seem to hum with the same unspoken tension. It's not just you feeling something in the air. Millions unconsciously sense the same undercurrent, even if they can't articulate it. Think back to moments in history when the world seemed to pivot overnight, political upheavals, social movements, or cultural awakenings that seemed to surge out of nowhere. These shifts rarely emerge in isolation. They build slowly beneath the surface, and then on certain key nights, something catalyzes them. A decision by one group ripples outward, amplified by a heightened energetic field, and suddenly the collective mood changes. What was once a subtle current becomes a tide pulling entire communities toward new realities. During these nights, individual and collective choices intertwine. The timeline split isn't just personal, it happens on multiple levels simultaneously. Families might experience sudden emotional confrontations, communities might realign around shared beliefs, or entire societies might unconsciously choose through collective reactions to events. You may notice increased polarization in opinions, sudden bursts of creativity, or widespread emotional surges online and offline. It's as if humanity is presented with a shared fork in the road, and different groups align with different energetic trajectories. What makes this especially powerful is that your personal awareness doesn't just affect you, it contributes to the collective frequency. Each person who moves through these nights consciously adds stability and clarity to the larger energetic field. That's why throughout history, spiritual traditions emphasized collective meditation, rituals, or prayers on significant nights. They weren't merely symbolic acts, but ways to guide the direction of the shared human timeline. On nights like these, the world subtly reorganizes itself. Most won't realize it happened, but they'll feel the aftershocks in the weeks and months to come. Throughout human history, certain nights have been regarded as gateways, temporary openings, where the usual boundaries between possibility and manifestation become thin. These aren't random mystical ideas. They reflect a consistent observation across cultures and eras. An energetic gateway is like a doorway between two rooms. For most of the year, that door remains closed, and changes happen gradually, like turning a steering wheel slowly. But on gateway nights, the door swings open briefly, and even a small step through it can place you in a completely different room or timeline. These spiritual windows often align with powerful celestial events, eclipses, solstices, equinoxes, portal dates, like 1010 or 1111, or rare planetary alignments. Civilizations that studied the stars deeply understood this. The Egyptians aligned temple entrances to celestial bodies so that on specific nights, the stars would shine directly down sacred halls, signaling ritual times. The Maya built entire calendar systems to track transformational windows. Indigenous traditions often held night-long vigils or ceremonies on these exact dates, treating them as opportunities to cross thresholds intentionally, rather than drifting through them unconsciously. What makes these nights unique is not that magic suddenly appears, but that the energetic environment becomes more responsive ****. Imagine trying to plant seeds in dry soil versus in freshly watered earth. Normally, our intentions and actions take time to germinate, but during gateways, the soil of reality is unusually fertile. Thoughts, emotions, and choices seem to manifest more quickly, synchronicities intensify, and intuitive insights arrive with unusual clarity. These are the nights when silence feels charged, when meditation feels deeper, and when decisions echo louder than usual. Most people miss these windows not because they're hidden, but because they're quiet. There's no obvious signpost pointing to them, no fireworks, no breaking news. Instead, the gateway appears as a subtle stillness, a shift in the air that only those paying attention will catch. By recognizing and honoring these openings, you place yourself in alignment with ancient rhythms that have guided humanity for millennia. You stop drifting and start moving deliberately through the doorway when it appears. And that single act of awareness can be enough to change the trajectory of everything that follows. One of the most fascinating bridges between spirituality and science is the concept of the *** observer effect ***. In quantum physics, researchers found that the mere act of observing a particle changes how it behaves. When no one is watching, a particle exists in a cloud of possibilities, like a wave. But the moment it's observed, it collapses into a definite state. Simply put, attention shapes reality ***. Spiritual traditions have been saying this for centuries in their own language. Where your focus goes, energy flows. What science discovered in laboratories, mystics have practiced through intention, prayer, and awareness for millennia. On an energetic gateway night, this principle becomes especially potent. Most people move through life unconsciously, letting old habits, fears, and distractions steer their path. They are like passengers on a train that runs the same route every day. But when awareness is heightened, the metaphorical train reaches a switch point. If you're fully present, you can consciously decide which track it takes next. If you're distracted, the switch defaults to old programming, sending you down the same familiar route. This is why awareness on nights like these isn't just poetic, it's practical. By observing your thoughts, emotions, and impulses without reacting automatically, you collapse the wave of infinite possibilities into the path you choose with intention. For example, if an old emotional trigger arises during this night, most would react instinctively, repeating the past. But if you stay aware and choose differently, maybe by breathing through it, responding with love instead of fear, you set an entirely new trajectory. That one conscious response becomes the point where timelines diverge. Awareness is the ultimate spiritual technology. It doesn't require rituals, tools, or elaborate beliefs, only presence. On ordinary days, a lapse in awareness might cost you little more than a missed opportunity. But on rare nights of alignment, the stakes are amplified. The universe is unusually sensitive to your state of consciousness. Being awake, truly awake, turns you from a passive character in the story into the author holding the pen. And on a night that divides timelines, that single shift changes everything. Missing a timeline-splitting night doesn't mean your life collapses, it means it stays on the same track it's been on. At first, this can seem harmless. You wake up the next day, go about your routine, and everything looks the same. But over time, you may start to sense a subtle heaviness, as if you're replaying a scene you've watched too many times. Patterns you thought you were ready to outgrow begin looping again. Opportunities that seemed just within reach quietly dissolve. The feeling isn't catastrophic. It's more like watching a door close softly while you're too distracted to notice. Energetically, when a gateway night passes unnoticed, the timeline does punish you, it simply solidifies the trajectory you were already on. Think of it like wet cement. During the gateway, the cement is soft and moldable. Your awareness, choices, and intentions can shape it in new ways, but once the night passes, it hardens. You'll still move forward, but you'll be walking along the path shaped by yesterday's patterns, not tomorrow's possibilities. Psychologically, this can manifest as stagnation, a nagging sense that you're stuck in an old story. You might see the same emotional dynamics repeating in relationships, find yourself procrastinating on a change you deeply desire, or feel as though your life is on pause. Spiritually, many describe this as being out of sync with themselves or with the flow of life. It's not dramatic, just quietly frustrating, like knowing there's another road nearby, but not knowing how to reach it anymore. Collectively, when large groups of people miss these moments, societies often continue down familiar tracks too. Cycles of division, avoidance of growth, or delayed breakthroughs. That's why awareness is so valuable. Gateway nights don't demand perfection, they invite participation. Missing them doesn't lock you out forever, but it can mean waiting until the next opening, which might not come for a long time. And in the space between, life tends to echo the old, even if you were ready for something new. When you consciously align yourself with a timeline-splitting night, life doesn't necessarily transform in a single cinematic flash, but subtle, undeniable shifts begin to unfold almost immediately. It often starts internally. A deep sense of clarity settles in, as if mental fog you didn't even realize you were carrying suddenly lifts. Emotions stabilize. Decisions that once felt tangled become simple. You wake up the next morning not necessarily with all the answers, but with a quiet knowing that something real has shifted beneath the surface. Energetically, it feels like catching a strong wind in your sails. The same actions you've been taking suddenly carry you farther. Synchronicities start multiplying, meaningful coincidences align with uncanny precision. You might meet the right person at the perfect time, receive unexpected opportunities, or feel intuitive nudges guiding you toward paths you hadn't considered before. What once required force begins to unfold with ease, like doors opening just as you approach them. Psychologically, aligning with these nights strengthens your sense of agency. Instead of reacting to life, you start co-creating it. Old habits lose their grip more easily, and new patterns embed themselves faster. Because your awareness was sharp during the gateway, the choices you made act like a new foundation. Each subsequent step builds upon this moment, amplifying its impact over weeks, months, or even years. What was once a single night becomes a quiet turning point that shapes entire chapters of your life. Spiritually, alignment often comes with a feeling of being in flow, a deep trust in timing, and a sense that the universe is conspiring with you, not against you. There's less resistance and more resonance. Instead of chasing, you attract. Instead of feeling fragmented, you feel anchored. People often look back at these nights not because something flashy happened, but because everything that followed carried a new sense of direction, purpose, and ease. One conscious night can't rewrite your entire destiny, but it can plant the seed for a future that grows in alignment with your highest potential. Preparation for a timeline-splitting night doesn't need to be complicated, but it does need to be intentional. Think of it as tuning an instrument before a powerful performance. The clearer your frequency, the more harmoniously you'll move through the night. Spiritual, mental, and emotional preparation work together to create the ideal inner environment for conscious choice. Spiritually, it's about clearing the noise. Many traditions recommend some form of cleansing or grounding ritual before significant energetic nights. This could be as simple as lighting a candle, saying a prayer, burning incense, or spending time in nature. The goal is not theatrics, it's presence. By creating a small sacred space, whether in a quiet corner of your room or under the open sky, you signal to your subconscious that something meaningful is about to unfold. Silence becomes your ally here. Even 5 to 10 minutes of stillness before the night begins can attune you to subtler shifts. Mentally, reflection is key. Before the night arrives, take time to journal or think clearly about where you are and where you want to be. What patterns are you ready to release? What decisions have you been postponing? What truths have you avoided admitting to yourself? This isn't about forcing answers, but about gently bringing clarity to the surface. When the night arrives, this mental groundwork will help you recognize crossroads more easily and respond with intention rather than confusion. Emotionally, it's essential to release what weighs you down. Gateway nights often amplify whatever is unresolved. If you're holding on to grudges, fear, or self-doubt, these emotions can cloud your perception. Spend time forgiving, expressing gratitude, or simply acknowledging your feelings honestly. Practices like slow breathing, soft music, or a warm bath can help regulate your nervous system, making it easier to stay calm and receptive when the night's energy intensifies. Practically prepare your environment too. Limit distractions by setting your phone aside, dimming harsh lights, or creating a comfortable atmosphere where you won't be interrupted. Think of it as setting the stage for an important conversation with your future self. When the night comes, you won't be scrambling to find focus. You'll already be centered, steady, and ready to engage with the moment fully. When the night finally arrives, the key is not to overcomplicate it, it's to be fully present. This is the moment when awareness matters most, when a quiet decision or subtle shift in intention can set an entirely new trajectory. Think of it less like a grand ritual and more like stepping through an invisible doorway with your eyes open, heart steady, and mind clear. 1. Honor the timing. Most spiritual traditions recognize that certain hours of the night, especially the period just before and after midnight, hold heightened energetic potency. This doesn't mean you need to stay up all night, but set aside a focused window. If possible, spend a few minutes outside or near a window under the night sky. Even a brief moment of looking up can anchor you in the awareness that something larger is unfolding. 2. Enter silence before action. Before making any decisions or setting intentions, allow yourself to sit in stillness. Close your eyes, breathe slowly and deeply until your thoughts settle. This pause creates space between unconscious reactions and conscious choices. In this quiet, subtle nudges often emerge, intuitive whispers, gentle insights, or emotional clarity you may have missed during the noise of the day. 3. Engage in a simple, symbolic act. Rituals don't have to be elaborate to be powerful. Lighting a single candle to symbolize illumination, writing down intentions for your next chapter, or standing in prayer or meditation for a few minutes can anchor your awareness. The action itself is less important than the asterisk state of consciousness you bring to it. Choose something that resonates with you personally. It should feel meaningful, not performative. 4. Guard your attention like treasure. On nights like these, distractions can easily pull you out of the present moment. Consider turning off notifications, avoiding social media, or dimming artificial lights to create a calm environment. This is not a night for mindless scrolling or emotional reactivity. Protect your mental space as though it's sacred ground, because it is. 5. Listen for the knock. Sometime during the night, there may be a moment, a sudden thought, a feeling, a decision that feels different. It might be subtle, but if you're paying attention, you'll recognize it. It could be an urge to forgive, to speak a truth, to release something, or to take a leap of faith. Don't rush it and don't force it. Simply meet the moment with clarity and trust. 6. Close with gratitude and trust. Before sleeping, take a brief moment to express gratitude, whether through a few quiet words, a journal entry, or a whispered thank you. Gratitude grounds your energy and seals your intentions with clarity rather than anxiety. Trust that the shifts you initiated will continue to unfold in the days ahead, even if you don't feel immediate fireworks. The night itself isn't about spectacle, it's about subtle power. The most significant shifts often happen in silence, in simple acts performed with full awareness. On a timeline-dividing night, your presence is the portal. By engaging deliberately, you step through the doorway rather than walking past it unaware. The days following a timeline-splitting night often feel subtly, but unmistakably different. At first, the changes may be quiet, almost imperceptible, like the stillness that follows a powerful storm. But if you pay attention, signs begin to emerge. You may notice that situations which once felt stuck begin to move with surprising ease. Opportunities you hadn't considered appear naturally, conversations flow more honestly, or your daily rhythm simply feels lighter. It's as though some invisible friction has dissolved, allowing life to unfold with a newfound sense of alignment. 1. Recognizing the signs of shift. One of the clearest indicators of a new timeline is an increase in synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that align so precisely it feels like reality is winking at you. You might receive unexpected messages at just the right time, meet someone who opens an important door, or feel a wave of inner calm replacing old anxieties. These are gentle confirmations that you've stepped onto a new trajectory. 2. The integration period. The first 3 to 7 days after the gateway are crucial. Think of this as a setting phase, like fresh paint drying. During this time, it's important to remain mindful, grounded, and open. Continue the practices that helped you align, journaling, meditation, or simply taking quiet moments to breathe and observe. Avoid rushing into major decisions out of impatience. Let the new timeline settle naturally, without force. 3. Observing inner changes. Many people report shifts in their emotional state, increased clarity, reduced mental clutter, or a sense of being in flow. Old triggers may feel less potent, or long-standing doubts begin to loosen their grip. This doesn't mean challenges disappear overnight, but you'll notice that your responses to them are different, more centered, less chaotic. 4. Maintaining awareness. Perhaps the most powerful thing you can do after such a night is simply to stay conscious. Don't slip back into autopilot. The choices you make now are like the first steps on a freshly paved road. They define the direction you'll continue traveling. Trust your intuition. If nudges or opportunities arise, don't overanalyze them to death. Respond with presence and sincerity. 5. Honoring the shift. You don't need to announce to the world that your timeline has changed. In fact, the most profound transformations often unfold quietly, but acknowledging the shift inwardly matters. This can be as simple as speaking a sentence of affirmation: something new has begun. By naming it, you reinforce your conscious role in the unfolding of this new path. Ultimately, recognizing a timeline shift isn't about chasing signs or trying to control outcomes. It's about awareness, trust, and steady alignment. If you've moved through the night with intention, the timeline will reveal itself through subtle but powerful confirmations. Your job is to notice, nurture, and walk forward with clarity, because the story from here is being written by the choices you make next. No matter where you stand, this night is your doorway to transformation. Trust your awareness, step boldly forward, and embrace the new timeline. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. I choose alignment.